Let me say this: hard has a way of feeling like a stop sign. When something feels difficult or unfamiliar or demanding, a lot of us quietly internalize and interpret that as information, not about the task, but information about us. We start thinking that maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I don't have what it takes. Or maybe I should choose something that feels easier. And often we don't even realize we've made a decision because we don't announce it and we don't name it. We just step back and stop. Somewhere along the way, many of us have learned to associate hard with wrong. If it didn't come easily, if our confidence didn't show up quickly enough, if the effort feels heavier than we expected, we start to assume that we misread the situation, but the assumption deserves to be questioned. Because difficulty doesn't automatically mean danger, and effort doesn't automatically mean misalignment. Sometimes hard is just the price we have to pay for engagement. A lot of this belief is learned quietly to ourselves. It's because we watch people who are further along and we assume that it was easier for them. We hear stories about failure and decide that we don't want to be next. We don't want to endure that. We absorb messages about who succeeded and who has struggled. And then over time, we internalize the idea that if something feels hard, it's a signal that we should reroute. Not because we truly can't do it, but because we don't want to confront what it might require of us. Effort asks for focus. Effort asks for consistency. Effort asks for our patience. And if we're honest, sometimes it's easier to admire from afar than to engage up close. When something hard becomes a stop sign, something subtle happens within us. We start admiring instead of participating. We start saying things like, well, that's impressive, and I wish I could do that. And not today, but maybe one day. But admiration without engagement, it doesn't allow us to stay neutral. Over time, it turns into quiet regret. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's the kind that shows up later. And then we realize, I never even really tried. And that regret, it doesn't come from failing, it comes from opting out too early. It comes from deciding that the effort was too much before we ever even gave ourselves a real chance. Here's the reframe I'm holding on to: hard, it doesn't mean wrong. It means that I'm being asked to stretch, to learn, to stay present instead of retreating. Hard is not a stop sign, it's an invitation for me. An invitation to engage instead of avoid, to stay curious instead of self critical. You don't have to decide how it ends, you don't have to predict how success will be. You just have to decide whether you're willing to stay. Now, I've opted out before, not because I was incapable, but because I decided that the effort felt like too much. And for a long time, I confused self protection with discernment. But if it was discernment, I wouldn't have avoided the effort, I would have understood it. Discernment asks, what is this asking of me? Instead of, how do I get myself out of this? Lately, I've been practicing staying when things feel demanding. It's not dramatic and it's not perfect, it's just honest. Here's the shift that's helping me. Instead of staying, and instead of not staying, instead of asking, am I able to do this? Can I do this? I'm asking myself, am I willing to engage with this for as long as it takes? The question, it removes the pressure to perform. It removes the need to guarantee the outcome. It allows effort to be information, not judgment. You don't need to commit to the finish line. You don't need to declare success. You just need to stop interpreting hard as a signal to leave. Stay long enough to learn what the effort is actually asking of you. That's where clarity is going to come to us. If something feels hard right now, before you step back, ask yourself, is this hard because it's wrong or because I'm finally engaging? Sometimes the most important decision is choosing not to opt out. We don't have to choose perfectly. We don't have to choose confidently, even. We just have to choose to stay with it and see what it teaches us. Hard is not a stop sign.